In the quiet village of Elele, nestled between gentle hills and rustling palms, lived a young man named Pascal. He was 26, fresh-faced with big dreams and a fire in his soul. After completing his NYSC in Abuja, he returned home with hope in his heart and a certificate in his bag. To many in Elele, Pascal was a symbol of promise. His parents had labored hard, selling produce in the local market and working extra hours on the farm just to see him through school. Pascal studied chemical engineering at the University of Port Harcourt. He was bright, sharp, always top of his class. People would point at him and say, "That boy. No future oil company boss be that." And he believed it too, believed that one day he would wear a suit, sit in a glass office in Port Harcourt, and send money back home for his parents to finally rest. But the reality after NYSC was far from the dream. He started sending out applications 5 days after he returned to Elele. Emails upon emails, CVs and cover letters. He registered on every job portal, set job alerts, joined job WhatsApp groups, and even took an online course on resume writing. His best friends, Ofo and Kenneth, watched him drift from hope to helplessness. Ofo had always been the pragmatic one. He'd started a poultry farm after school and warned Pascal not to put his faith in the system. Kenneth, on the other hand, had moved to Port Harcourt after NYSC to hustle, doing odd jobs just to survive, while chasing contracts with oil servicing firms. But Pascal had dreams, real dreams. He didn't want to manage or hustle. He wanted a proper job. The first few months were filled with optimism. He got called for interviews in Port Harcourt, and each time he would borrow Kenneth's shirt and pair of shoes. He would take the early morning bus, sometimes standing for the whole 3-hour journey, and return at night, drained but still clinging to hope. "I think this one will click," he'd say with a weak smile. The HR woman was even nodding while I spoke. But the jobs never came. 6 months passed, then 8, then a year. Pascal began to wither. He stopped shaving. His voice lost its vigor. His eyes, those bright, dreaming eyes, became hollow, distant. He started helping his mother in the farm, not because he wanted to, but because staying idle in the house began to feel like punishment. He would dig ridges with blistered hands and stare into the soil, wondering why nothing was growing in his life. One night, while sitting under the mango tree behind his house, he spoke to Ofo. "Ofo, have you offended God?" "Why me?" Ofo had no answers, just silence and a heavy sigh. He offered Pascal a sachet of dry gin, but Pascal shook his head. "I am still holding on," he said. "Something will happen soon." But deep inside, he wasn't sure anymore. Then one Thursday morning, the sky was unusually bright. Pascal had barely eaten the day before. He woke up feeling dizzy but refused to rest. There was a job fair in Port Harcourt organized by an oil and gas group. Kenneth had sent him the link. He washed his only white shirt and ironed it over a lantern flame. The collar had frayed. His trousers were loose on the waist, but he wore them anyway. His mother gave him 4,000 naira, half of her weekly market sales. "Use and manage transport," she said, her voice cracking. Pascal hugged her longer than usual. "I'll be back before night." He took the early morning bus. The sun had just begun to rise, casting golden light over the road to Port Harcourt. The city buzzed with life. People rushed, cars honked, and skyscrapers gleamed. But Pascal barely noticed. He went from one company tent to another, submitting CVs, answering questions, smiling with forced energy. By afternoon, his legs were shaking. He hadn't eaten. A friend offered him puff-puff, but he declined. "I don't want to stain my shirt," he joked weakly. Around 3:45 p.m., as he tried to join another queue for one final interview, Pascal stumbled. His vision blurred. Then he collapsed, right there, in front of a banner that read "Building the Future of Oil and Gas." People screamed. A small crowd formed. Some poured water on his face. Others searched his pockets for ID. Kenneth was called, then Ofo. They rushed to the clinic where Pascal had been taken, but it was too late. Pascal was gone. He died from cardiac arrest due to stress, malnutrition, and exhaustion. The entire village of Elele mourned. His mother wailed until her voice vanished. His father stared blankly at the wall for days. Kenneth couldn't forgive himself. Or cursed the system, the country, everything. They buried Pascal 2 days later. A small white casket lay to rest under the mango tree he once sat beneath, but the cruelest twist of all came on the day of his burial. A white envelope arrived, DHL, addressed to Pascal Okachukwu, Elele village. It was an official employment letter from Globex Chemicals, a major UK-based oil company with operations in Port Harcourt. Position, graduate process engineer. Salary, 320,000 naira monthly. Pascal's name had been selected from a talent pool months ago. The email invitation had gone to his spam folder. The physical letter was a follow-up. Delayed by logistic errors, Offer held the letter with shaking hands. Kenneth cried openly for the first time. The entire village gathered as Pascal's father read the letter aloud, trembling. "He got the job," he whispered. "My son got the job." But it was too late, too damn late.